This was based on the spring show at Broughton, which was quite sparse because I think it was on in February or March before anything had really come into bloom. But the Gardeners Society, which is very vibrant and well run, gets together as much of it, whatever they can from their garden and bring it in. And you get these sort of standard issue pots here that obviously get wheeled out every year so that nobody has an unfair advantage. They're all using the same pot. But the effect of that was to make this lovely composition. So I took a photo when I was there. I met up with a friend and she stood next to things to give an idea of scale. And I just thought, no, do you know what? It was just the way that after the bleak winter, you had all of these little eyes sort of winking at you, multiple yellows, different shades of, and I just thought that's delicious on these white tablecloths. And although it was done in quite a basic way, there was something just really lovely about it. It was the promise of spring and new beginnings. So these guys weren't there actually on the day, but I put him in. I don't know how old he is, but he's probably late 30s, early 40s. That's my friend Sarah Phillip. And she's just holding a stripy scarf in front of her, and she does have this amazing long hair. But I thought maybe they could be meeting and there could be a bit of a romance blossoming. So it's the idea of new beginnings and second chances. So yeah, spring. This is my first oil painting, and I think I must have done it in 1989 at college. And it's called Pregnant Schoolgirl, and it's based on one girl who I was at school with when I was 14, who disappeared from view. But before she did that, she was quite scary. She was the sort of girl that would throw things over the door in the toilets, in the girls' toilets. I remember a teacher saying to her, you need to start eating properly, and trying to make her eat an orange. It's a really peculiar memory, but this was her. And we never saw her again. That was it. She just disappeared from view. So I tried to imagine her standing in front of school. She's got to look defiant. I mean, she knows she's mucked up, but at the same time, so what? So I've made her kick off her sandals here, her flip-flops. Like, you know, and there's that, I think it's a Poussin painting of a girl on a swing whose shoe is coming off because she was supposed to stand for virtue. So she's lost her shoes and she's having a fag, and she's got one of these really cheap handbags from Leicester Market. So lots of detail there that is I would notice. I don't know whether anybody else would notice. And this school is Winstanley School in Leicester, which I spent 2 years at and hated, which was a shame. Okay, this is some of my work, some old, mostly very recent, and it's kind of the wall where I put everything so I can stand back and think what to do next. This is called Shopping in Boots, ha. There's two ladies here who are very 21st century women. They've met up for a bit of relaxation time, meet up in a shop. It's a very contemporary subject. I just thought I would like to depict something where you're in a shop. I know it's not a usual subject, but I would like to make subjects more up-to-date and contemporary. And they are buying hair removal cream while wearing animal fur boots, which I just think is part of our strange modern outlook on nature, on animals. This is obviously fake fur, but they brought along a real dog who's just wondering what on earth it's all about. And there's a companion piece to that over there called Browsing in Smith's. I think that's Lucy on the right, and I think that's me on the left in my crazy fur hat. And it's a bit of time off for good behaviour. Obviously they've dropped the kids off and they're going to have a quick mooch around Smith's and look at two favourite Broughton hobbies. One is running and the other one is dog walking, because every man and his dog has got another dog. And I was thinking of doing a companion piece to that, so there's three of them where they all go off for coffee, so there'll be another two women having a coffee. This was a very early one that I'd started to do after I'd had children, and it was one of four, and she's obviously opened a letter and had bad news, and she's so upset she's broken her necklace. Very old one. This is just Elvis, and he was quite amazing, and everybody thought he was you know, well, in America they treated him like some kind of demigod, so I've given him a very tiny halo there and the extra eyes for the insight that he carried, because he was just, you know, born to sing. As a local dog, it doesn't have 4 legs, it has 3, so it has a wheel. I saw it go past opposite the house one day, and I was impressed by how optimistically he walked. He was just scuttling along the road like that. And these are called Beautiful Runners. For a time I was running in Swindon, and I absolutely loved doing it. It was just very, very time consuming. But it was just fascinating, the different shapes of bodies that you would see. And everybody seemed to have one of these really tall ponytails, and I always ended up behind somebody with a ponytail that would be swishing from side to side. So I thought, well, I have to put that in, and that very special water bottle. The background was taken from a Joshua Reynolds painting, which I think was originally that way round, so I flipped it round and used it. So that's where you've got the urn here and the Et in Arcadia ego, you know, sort of reference to death there, which I quite like. Sort of memento mori going on in there, and a little bit of dog poo there, because that's inevitable. That's an inevitable part of running. You know you're going to tread in some. One in the middle was naughty, because I sold it and then changed my mind, and I had to apologise to Judy Joel about that. It's called Seaview Hotel. There's Lucy standing in for me. I put myself in the picture originally and I didn't like it. It was quite creepy to see myself in the picture. So I took myself out, and she was in a pub at Christmas, the White Hart in Rawton, and she just was standing, and I quickly took a photo because I knew she wouldn't mind. And it turned out that she was standing in exactly the same pose that I had painted myself. So all I had to do was paint on her arms and her top and her jeans and give her a pair of funky shoes. And it just worked. I find it quite hard to include eyes in paintings. I think if you include eyes, they're a particular person. So I tend to put hair in the way, or glasses, or cut out faces altogether, which is odd because I do like painting faces, or else I'll do them in profile so that they're sort of a general purpose face as opposed to somebody in particular. But that said, that's definitely Lucy. Seaview Hotel is on the Isle of Wight, and we spent a holiday there a couple of years ago where Sunny, who's in orange on the left, went out every night to play darts. And I was left it started off as a grudge painting because I was so cheesed off because I'd been left at home with the children. And I was really gagging to go out for a pint, but there we are. I did eventually. And there's my daughter in the middle. She's kind of standing in for what the dog would normally do, which is to look at the viewer and say, what's going on? So she's doing the same. She has a way of staring at you deep into your soul while she eats an ice cream. So that, I did like that. I've kept it because it's my new standard. If I can paint that well for every painting, I'll be pleased. I like it.